This map first impressions video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Przemas Outback. This map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub. This is kind of an interesting map. It basically says, welcome to Przemas Outback map. If you like Outback atmosphere, this map is perfect for you. Advantages of the map. 2 separate farms can be combined into one big farm. Now these farms are more like industrial areas. They're really just giant parking lots with some buildings on them. 2 separate train lines for each farm. The map is ideal for growing cotton and creating huge amounts of silage. 3.5 times larger BGA than standard. Diverse fields from 1 to 20 hectares. Each field is near the train path, allowing for direct loading. 3 forests, small, medium, and large. Animated irrigation systems, visual effects, increased train and traffic, road speed. This map is available for all platforms, and we're going to go ahead and jump on in to take a look around. So I can tell you that if you load up this map in New Farmer, well, you pretty much are going to see what you're going to see in the video here. If you load this up in Farm Manager or Start from Scratch, you're going to have no equipment and no land, but everything is basically going to be built out the exact same way you're going to see. Let's go ahead and fire this up. Pull up the log so we can see things loading in. Now, when I hear the word Outback, I think Australia. But the first thing we're going to notice when we load into this map is that the farms are flying American flags. So, not really sure what is going on with that. Come out here, when we take a look, we can see American flags on the left and the right. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop on a train because here they come, barreling down the road. Go ahead and zoom on out here. Let's pull up the big PDA, and basically this is where the train lines diverse. One goes to the north and the other turns towards the south, with the 2 main farms basically splitting the center of the map. The BGA there is directly to the west of the 2 farms. So it kind of has a southwest feel to it and look to it. But when it says Outback, I think Australia. But clearly, we saw both of the farms are flying dual American flags. So I don't know if this is just supposed to be a Southwest map, and everyone thinks we call the Southwest the Outback. I don't know. But at any rate, we've got an interesting combination of palm trees and evergreens also. And somehow we have a whale. The whale skeleton over there. That's an interesting find. This is kind of cool. We go under the rock through a little tunnel here. So one suggestion on this map is that you do it in kind of a competitive multiplayer where you have 2 different farms, and obviously the farms are side by side. Here we are coming up to the second train here. See, the train lines are basically about even with each other with respect to how long it takes for them to get around. Here we have the BGA. Farm has its own access, and basically we are looking at the farms right here. So we're going to go ahead and hop off. When the trains come by, these bollards come up to keep you from driving over the rails inadvertently. What's interesting is, as you saw, half of the bollards go down at one time, half go up at another time. The same holds for these these river crossings. One river crossing on either side will drop at one time, and then the other river crossing on either side will drop at another time. I assume that one is connected to one train, one is connected to the other. Since the two trains are not exactly connected in sync with each other, and that's why there's a little bit of a difference. Yeah, here we go. We've got two American flags here. So basically we have two huge industrial farmyards. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And let's go to the lands section. You'll see on new farmer mode, we start with the southern farm and field 20. If we were to buy the BGA, we need $219,000. Now, what I find interesting is that there's two different farms here. Both are $193,000, but there's only one BGA. I think it would have been more interesting to have this split up, that there was a BGA side by side, and you can own both, or you can own just one connected to your particular farm. Got some massive fields here. 31, $1.5 million. 18, $1.8 million. 4 is $1.4 million. And then we have some smaller ones like 9, just $173,000. Area 2, $222,000. 19, $1.2 million. Take a look here at the sell points. We have 3 main sell points for most of our crops. We have a sell point for cotton and wool, 2 sell points for eggs and milk. We have the barn, which will accept our silage, hay, straw, and grass. And of course, if we buy the BGA, we'll have access to that. We start with very, very little equipment here on this map, and given the size of these farms, equipment we start out with is pretty minuscule, to say the least. And there are no animals pre-built into this. If you want to place an animal pen down, you're going to need to place it down either, I guess, in one of your farmyards, or find a little bit of field to carve out, because there doesn't appear to be any sort of placeable yard other than these two large industrial farm areas. So we just got a big yard here, big fenced-in yard with some sheds, some enclosures. We keep our stuff out of the weather, out of the sun. Got what I would assume would be a silo. We'll check that out here in a little bit. Then this is the one that we own. And here is our starting equipment. Go ahead and take a look at that. So we start out with the Massey Ferguson 5610, just 105 horsepower on that tractor. Then we have the John Deere 6135, 142 horsepower. The John Deere T560 harvester, and that comes with the 625X grain header. Get the AgriLiner tipper. We have the row crop corn header, if you will, the 608C. And then we have the Vanderstand Spirit R300S seeder. And that is pretty much our starting equipment. Nothing is leased. What we're going to do at this point is, well, let's go ahead and make our way down BGA ramp to the BGA, which is below the trains, and just see if we have our there we have a chaff trigger. There we have a chaff trigger. It's 3, 4, 5, 6 massive bunkers for our silage. And of course we have our digestate, and we have our silage digester there. Then we have our ramp up out of the BGA. Then we have our animal dealer and our barn, most likely. We have our animal trigger. Of course, we don't have any animal pins, so we can pretty much pick whatever we want there. Then we have our barn over here, which is our sell point for hay, straw, grass, and silage. So with that, let's go ahead and prep for a bit of an aerial tour around the map. And then we'll get into the Mahindra and do a bit of a drive around. Well, guys, this is interesting. This is really interesting. I pulled the log up to basically get into flight mode, and I'm greeted with Lewis stack errors. Basically, the first error I see is can't change money of spectator farm. Interesting. And then we get some Lewis stacks related to money and whatever all that stands for. So how on earth did this clear Giants testing? I don't understand what that is, what that means, but I would suspect that is going to get corrected at some point, whatever that error means. Let's go ahead and get up here to the sky a little bit. Take a look around. I kind of like the color scheme of the map. The dirt doesn't look weird. It doesn't look red like Estancia Lapacho and everything. You can see the massive BGA there. 6 bunkers, the 2 railroad tracks, and then the 2 industrial silos. Each silo has a grain dump and a fill to their respective trains. So it would have been kind of even more interesting if the southern half of the map and the northern half of the map was a literal mirror image of each other. We've seen in some respects these challenge maps in the past that have kind of had that set up where basically the map is split and Team A and Team B can go at it in multiplayer. Here we are coming up to the edge of the map, and we've got these big long fields pretty much covering all of the various edges. This is kind of an interesting sell point. We've got the grain. We've got I don't think this must not be a sell point. This is a transfer station and a sell point combined. Let's take a look at this. The railroad silo east and a lime station. Okay. This is just a transfer station, but this is kind of interesting. So we've got the train dump and the train fill. We have what we typically would expect at a transfer station, in that we have a truck dump area there. And then we have this area up here on top of the plateau, if you will, where like trailers can just come up here on this level and dump. It's kind of an interesting setup. This is kind of cool. You're in this rocky area. This is a that's kind of a neat little area. I think the map has a lot going for it. Just a little concerned about those Lua errors. That bridge. It's a nice bridge. Too bad most of it's buried in the water. Spinnery over here. Check out our whale skeleton. Dude, you are a little far from water. Got the high power lines over here. And then we have our sawmill. We have some cool irrigation arms. Now it says we have animated irrigation systems visual effect. So wonder, do these have a trigger on them at some point? Maybe they move as a result of just time? They have collisions on them? They do have collisions on them, so I would hope that they wouldn't just randomly go across the field. If you're doing field work and these things start to go across the field, that's going to be kind of interesting. Now if we make our way down here to the southern part of the map, we've got another train transfer station for the southern train track. That is right here. More of a traditional looking train transfer station. It's large forests. Bit of a summit pond, summit lake. Then we have the grain mill, cell point down here in the southeast part of the map. That is pretty much the aerial tour. Let's head on back here to the shop where we'll go ahead and get our Mahindra. We'll do a bit of a drive around, and I think that is about all we've got to see related to the Przemas Outback. All right, so here we are at the shop. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. Got our shop trigger. Got our customize and repair trigger. Anyone actually uses the ATM triggers. One there. And then shop and the sawmill kind of share the same area here. Here we have the log trigger and the wood chip cell point. Don't want to get stuck and get hit by the train. Let's go back out this way, take a look at the map, and I guess we'll just make our way around the map. There's not a lot going on other than the interior here, which we really already kind of took a look at. Look at the animal area of the barn, biogas plant, 2 farms. I guess there's a central grain elevator here. Central grain elevator, that is a cell point. Maybe a little tight getting out of there. We get in here with a big semi, that might be a little of a challenge to drive out of that, maybe. I think that sign was showing it downhill, but we were going uphill, maybe a little backwards. This is where you would have the sign showing you that you're going down a downhill, but it's not that steep of a downhill anyway to really require such signage. Falling rock. Okay. Then again, up here we have the spinnery, and then we have the train station mill. Spinnery's right here. Let's go ahead and loop around. We have the train station mill here. Clearly this map is kind of set up to that was a tunnel. Clearly this map is really set up to make use of the trains. Now one thing, it does appear that if Well, if you are on the southern train, if you're in the southern farm and really connected to the southern train, there doesn't appear to be any sort of way of getting your stuff on the northern train to come up here to the northern sell point. So that means if you want to sell to the northern sell point and you're the southern farm, I think it means you're pretty much going to have to haul that with a truck. But I guess that same logic would also hold true with respect to if you're the northern farm and you want to sell at the southern grain mill, you'd have to basically do the exact same thing. At the sawmill, the shop, train flying around. Map is definitely not flat. It's got some subtle rolling hills and curves here. You know, different elevations, different levels, because we've got, you know, the BGA is below main farms. We've got an elevated train there. We've got that one transfer station over here on the east side of the map that adds like a dump up on a plateau area. So that was kind of an interesting setup. We have a train, a transfer station for Southern Line. You can transfer product from a train to a truck, from a truck to a train. And also this can act as an additional silo. See how big this field is. Field 45 acres, field 31. This field stretches basically the bottom half of the map, bottom eastern half of the map. We have the grain mill, southern grain mill. And this does have a oh, it doesn't. I thought this did. I thought for sure this would have a way of selling crop at it on the train. Back on the road. And we'll make our way up here to the railroad silo east once again, and that is pretty much going to do us for the Przemas Outback map. This map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub, and it is currently available for all platforms. This is kind of the interesting, I think, transfer station. We have the truck dump right here. We can dump our fill from into the truck. The lime silo, of course. And then we have the train dump and fill. But then up here, we also have kind of this upper level dump station associated with this transfer area. But again, that is only available for the northern train. There isn't a way of basically getting product from the southern train to the northern train without using a truck. Well, I mean, I guess you could definitely use an overloader and kind of do it that way. But at any rate, as you can see, both of these dumps are independent of each other. Both of these fills are independent of each other. So there you go, guys. That is the Przemas Outback map. Again, available over at the farmingsimulator.com website. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this map? And until next time, happy farming. Be sure to click that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.